All right, what's going on, guys? We're gonna do something a little different this time. Start video off actually with a joke. Normally I end it with a joke. We're gonna start off with a joke. Get us going here. All right. So, what does seaweed say when it's in trouble? What does seaweed say when it's in trouble? Kelp, kelp, kelp. All right, so today's video is going to be talking about polynomials, all right, and what polynomials are. So we're going to start out with just classifying these polynomials. Very basic, no arithmetic involved. Just talking about, hey, what are these things? All right. So as you can see, we have all of these on my screen. These are all polynomials. All right, and what are polynomials? Well, we're just going to break this down here. So poly, okay, this part right here, poly actually means many. All right, and then our nomial, that actually means name or term. And in this case, we're going to talk about the word term. So polynomials just represents many terms. All right. So as you can see here on the side, these are all polynomials. Now, if we get a little technical, a lot of times we incorporate the polynomial for many terms. It actually is also the sum or difference of terms that have non-negative integer exponents. All right. So that's a little crazy, but again, polynomial mean many terms. So these are all examples of polynomials. All right. So you keep hearing me say this word term. Well, what does the word term represent? Well, if you look here, okay, each of these are broken down into so many terms. So from here to here, that's one term. From here to here, that's another term. From here to here, that's a term. And from here to here, that's a term. So in this case, you actually would say that this polynomial has 4 terms. Okay, 10x squared, negative 3x to the fourth, x, and negative 2. Those are all of the terms, right? And there's more to this as well. So these polynomials have terms, but they also have these things called degrees. Okay, and degrees is just a fancy word for the exponent, okay, of the variable of that term. So in this case, if I'm talking about degrees, I'm talking about the exponent, okay, of the variable of that term. So we got a 2, we got a 4. I had to write the 1 in there on that x. And if we look at the last one, which is a constant, it actually technically could have still a degree. The degree here with the constant, you throw a variable in there, would be 0, because anything to the 0 power is 1, and that's why nothing's changing here. Okay, so 2, 4, 1, and 0, those would be the degrees, okay, of each term. All right, and so we have terms and degrees with this. We also have coefficients. Remember, coefficients are the number that's multiplying the variable. All right, so that's 10, negative 3. You would have a 1 on the x, and then in this case, you could still consider that constant, negative 2, kind of like a coefficient on the x to the 0. But I like to just say, hey, that negative 2 that's just your constant. It doesn't have a variable term, or it's gone. All right, so now there's more to this. We actually have multiple names as we classify these polynomials. When you have 4 or more terms here, you just call that a polynomial. Okay, but in this case, if we're talking about the number of terms, so here we have 1, 2, 3 terms. Okay, and that's actually what we call a trinomial. All right, because it has 3 terms, so it's a trinomial. All right, if you look at the next one, there's 1 and there's 2. So this one's actually has 2 terms, and that's what we call a binomial, kind of like a bicycle. Okay. All right. I guess I should have said trinomial, like a triceratops, 3 horns type deal. And then this last one, this is still even a polynomial. Even if we got rid of the x and if it was just 3, it still would be considered a polynomial. But this is one term, so we call this a monomial. Kind of like if you think about the guy from Monopoly, he has that little eyeglass. There's just one, he doesn't have two. Okay, it's a monocle. All right, so same idea. This is a monomial. All right, so this is how we classify all these polynomials. We also can classify them, and I'll show you with their not just their terms, but also by their degrees. Okay, so we could classify them with different situations with their degrees. Okay, so you'll see that we have linear, which is just 1, exponent of 1. We'll have quadratic, which is 2. We'll have cubic, which is 3, and we'll have quartic, which is actually 4. But the next thing here is also we talk about writing these polynomials. They're usually written in standard form. So I'm going to tell you right now, there's actually 3 of these that are written in standard form correctly. All right, there's one that is not written in standard form. Maybe you can pick it out. Okay, but when we say something's written in standard form for a polynomial, it's not like the standard form of the linear equation. It's a little different. When we say standard form, we're talking about writing the terms out with the highest degree first. So the highest degree term first. So as you can see, this first one is actually the polynomial that is not written in standard form. You can see the 2, which is first here. Okay, in this case, again, the 2, this would have a degree of 0, and again, this case here. And we always finish with the constant. So to put this in standard form, meaning we have the highest degree term first, we actually would want to take the 3x to the 4th first. And then it would be the plus 10x squared. And then it would be the plus x, and we would then finish with our constant. And now this would be in standard form because it has the highest degree term first. Okay. We also call this the leading term. And then we also have another part to this. This is the leading coefficient. So the -3 would be the leading coefficient. So just a lot of terms, a lot of words, vocabulary here that goes with the polynomials. And you're going to hear me say this a lot. So that's why I wanted to go through this. Okay. Also, just kind of thinking about every time we're working with these polynomials, I want you to be thinking, hey, is that a binomial? Hey, is that a trinomial? Hey, is that a monomial? Or hey, is that 4 or more? And it's just considered a polynomial. And you'll hear me talk about the degrees as well. So here's a little graphic organizer. You can pause. You can take a look at this. That also goes through what we just talked about and has this all kind of written in that correct form in a table. So you can see only thing we didn't talk about here was classifying it by a degree. So when the highest degree is 0, it's the constant. When the highest degree is 1, that we call linear. When it's 2, it's a quadratic. When it's 3, it's cubic. When it's 4, it's quartic. And when it's 5, if you go all the way up to 5, it's quintic. Okay. And again, you can see this example of putting those together down here. You can see that, hey, this 4x minus 3, that's a linear binomial. The next one is a cubic because of the 3, trinomial because it's 3 terms. The next one is a quartic. There's more than 4 terms, so it's just a polynomial. The next one is just a constant, monomial. And then again, you can see here, it's the degree of a 2, so that's a quadratic, and there's 2 terms. It's a binomial. All right, so we're classifying by its degree. Mostly the thing you need to know the most is by its term, these guys over here. All right. So that's classifying polynomials by its degree and term and just all the vocabulary that goes with it. See you.